Welcome to the Game Dungeon. Today I've chosen The Chosen, Well of Souls. And what a choice it is. The Chosen is a hack and slash action RPG. This is a Polish game. Now sometimes I cut the intro short, but this time I'll show you the full thing so you can really soak it in. Plus, we have some world-class voice acting coming up here. I've never heard acting quite like this. Okay, here we go.
The Emerald Tablet. The Secrets of Hermes. Power over life and death.
Yeah!
For 1,000 years a chosen one was picked to stand vigil.
Ah, like the title. I get it.
A sacred duty.
That's not really a sentence.
For the tablet has the potential to do great good or great evil.
Evil. Yeah.
The lure of such power can corrupt even the strongest of men.
Even me.
It can twist the mind and the soul.
Okay.
It can breed treachery.
Sure. Okay, something's happening.
The Emerald Tablet is gone.
Uh-oh.
The chosen one taken.
He was just some old man in a robe. What was he supposed to do?
The powers of evil have arisen.
Okay, so that intro should let you know what kind of game we're in for here. The narrator rambles on about the Emerald Tablet and an old man gets hacked up with a scimitar. I guess that's all we need to know. And that voice acting. Man. Let's get started. So we have our industry standard choices between a warrior, an archer, and a mage. Now I'll get into this later, but I find this game definitely favors the archer. So that's what I'm going to play as. Begin!
The one evil has come on flaming wings.
Flaming wings.
I shall fall. I, Calidus, master alchemist, Magus. With the last of my magic, I reach out to you, my apprentice. The balance of power between good and evil has been upset.
Ah!
The Emerald Tablet has been taken, and someone has opened the wells of souls. The hordes of hell have erupted onto the earth.
Oh no!
And perhaps worst of all, the Chosen One has been captured. The keeper of the tablet.
Wait, if the Chosen One got captured, then who is that old man that got killed? Just some guy?
You must go to the city of Kamienik. The city is under siege by demons, but you must find the laboratory of the Society of Alchemists. They have secreted themselves away. Look for the Eternal Serpent.
What does that mean?
The alchemists will help you. They have vast knowledge of the evil you will face, and you will need it, for the forces aligned against you are formidable. You are our hope, Hunter.
Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hey, is that narrator going to return? Or is this game going to be like Oblivion, where Patrick Stewart gave us 5 minutes of voice acting that got killed off?
Take that! Take him down.
Well, not to worry. He'll be back. So we finally start, and I have to say, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Now this may come as a surprise to you, but this game was actually a budget title. So my expectations were a little diminished at this point, but I'm liking these graphics. This has good lighting for the engine, good color, and enough visual details to be interesting. We immediately have some atmosphere to this place. To me, this is a perfect example of dated graphics, but good art design. That's all I need. I will take these visuals any day over a modern game with a tinted screen, desaturated colors, ugly lighting, and so on. So we move forward, and we're treated to a cutscene.
Stop! Identify yourself or I'll shoot. Kalino, what is going on here?
It's a spy. A demon from hell. It must be killed.
Frederick, stand down. Have you gone mad? This is no spy.
It could be a shapeshifter. What if it transforms into a demon?
Well, then you can start shooting.
Okay, there's no avoiding it. Let's talk about this voice acting. That cutscene we just saw is exactly what I would expect from two role players with no acting experience whatsoever conducting a Dungeons and Dragons session. Hello, traveler. Welcome to our inn. Are you looking for information? This is a budget title, but I think they blew their budget on these graphics. Which was probably the right decision, actually, but this is what we're left with. It's been a while since I've heard voice acting this bad in a game. For me, my gold standard of bad voice acting is the original Resident Evil.
Joseph!
There were a lot of games with bad voice acting in the 90s, but Resident Evil has a fair number of cutscenes and just keeps the bad acting from beginning to end.
Wow, what a mansion! Stop it! Don't open that door!
But Chris's.
What is it?
Maybe it's Chris.
But the big difference is this game came out in 2007. There were a lot more resources for getting voice actors by then, so there's less of an excuse for this, but here we are. And if that's not enough, to really add to that low budget feeling, we get plain text for most of our dialogue interactions. So in other words, we should be thankful when we even get the bad voice acting. But hey, this is an action RPG, so how's the gameplay? Well, it's looking competent. Enemies seem to take the right amount of punishment to kill, you have branching side paths, and this city actually feels like there was some effort put into it. Now again, these graphics are more what I would expect from 2002 rather than 2007, but hey, I'm not complaining. I will say there's maybe a little too many crates and barrels you can break open looking for loot. Now I know Diablo clones are all about collecting loot, but I think this one gets a little tedious. See, the thing is, loot works differently in some of those games. In Dungeon Siege, you have the automatic pickup button, which makes life easier. In Titan Quest, you can ignore most of the loot that falls on the ground. This game has none of that. Again, I'll come back to this, but you kind of want to be collecting all the loot you can find. It's going to make a difference later. Oh, and the game seems to be taking a page from Diablo 2 and having enemy shamans that respawn the enemies you just killed. I hate this crap. I didn't find it fun back then, I don't find it fun now. I like my enemies to stay dead. Why is this such a hard concept? There. You thinking about getting back up? Well, don't. This game actually does keep most of the enemies dead, but I don't like exceptions. It just runs counter to all my life experience. Another mechanic lifted from Diablo 2 is the stamina meter. It sucks. That's about all there is to say about it. Whoops, have to stop everything so I can recharge my stamina. Yep. So after shooting and stopping, we finally make it to our destination. A burning building hides the secret laboratory. Yeah, I guess that works. Nobody's gonna think to go in there. We're then treated to another cutscene, and honestly, this is one of the better voice actors in the game.
Welcome to the Society of Alchemists, Hunter.
He's not amazing, but he doesn't immediately rip me out of the game and make me envision some forced drama exercise in a high school English class the way the other actors do. The same cannot be said for our protagonist, however.
You have magic here, weapons to equip an army. Can you not help these people?
I have to wonder what the story was here. My guess is they needed somebody who could speak English, couldn't afford to pay any actual actors, so this might be the girlfriend or cousin of one of the staff who did indeed speak English, so she automatically got the part because there was no one else. And no, the other heroes aren't much better.
Yes. Is there no way you can help them? They may not survive another attack.
What nonsense is this? Calidus has fallen and...
Anyway, I don't remember exactly when I realized the story to this game doesn't matter at all, but I think it must have been here. You're introduced to all your vendors, and they all throw up walls of text at you with no voice acting that aren't especially interesting. So that was already turning me off, but I think what finally did me in was when I learned the name of our main villain. You want to take a guess? You might get it. The Evil One.
The Evil One lies.
That's the best we can come up with, huh guys? The evil one.
The evil one?
I mean, this isn't meant to be a joke. I'm pretty sure the writer was dead serious. If that's what we're starting with, I don't think the story can recover from that one. So I guess that just leaves the gameplay and atmosphere at this point. Well, unfortunately the gameplay takes another hit. While talking to the vendors, I'm introduced to a standard Diablo formula. You sell gear, boost your stats, get money. This stuff has been seen in dozens of other action RPGs. What they don't include, however, is a hotkey to sell your items. I tried Control, Alt, Shift, right click, middle click, double click, every key on the keyboard I could think of. Nothing. That means I have to drag over each item individually to the shop in order to sell it. Now this may not sound like a big deal, but this is a Diablo clone. How often do you sell loot in Diablo clones? I'm gonna be selling hundreds, maybe thousands of items. This gets old fast. It makes me dread having to come back here and puts me in this numb robotic state every time I have to sell things. So yeah, that sucks. Let's keep moving. Our first real mission takes us through these alpine woodlands, which, like the town, is pretty nice for the graphics level we're dealing with here. The combat, however, is starting to show some cracks in the armor. If you've played MMOs before, you may have heard of the term kiting. What's kiting? Well, you're looking at it. You get close enough to an enemy to attack them, then run back as they chase you until you get enough distance to do it again. Well, this is kiting the game. You can take down some weak enemies before they get to you, but others are going to send you backwards up the trail. The thing is, you kind of have to do this because some of these enemies hit pretty hard. At one point, I got a mini cutscene like I'm supposed to rescue this NPC here, but surprise, a werewolf ambushes me and gets one shot off me. Did you see that? That's what, a fifth of my life? That wasn't a critical hit or anything, that's normal damage, and I've barely started this game. So I have to keep running. I do find it kind of hilarious though that the NPC doesn't get any special favors and doesn't hold up to the werewolves much better than I do. Now you might be thinking, well of course you get hurt easily, Ross. You're playing the archer. They're meant to be fragile. Well, you think the melee character fares any better? Take a look at this. This is the beginning of the first level past the town. My warrior is getting brutalized by these werewolves. Now sure, I can defeat them by using a couple health potions, but now I'm down a couple health potions. And this is the beginning of the level. Now health potions aren't super expensive, but God, that's burning through them fast. That doesn't leave you much money left over for weapons, armor, and repairs, which you're gonna need. This is why I say the game favors the archer, because you're gonna be bleeding blood and money as the warrior. The mage has issues too. He does similar damage as the archer to start off, but he burns through mana potions. That can eat into your economy again. Worse, his spells only scale up to a point. Then you have to hope you can find something better. Otherwise, you're stuck in the valley of low damage. The enemies are going to get tougher faster than your spells can keep up. Like level 2 here isn't bad, but level 3? Oh my God, level 3. We'll come to that in a minute. Point is, the archer is the only class where everything works for you. The other classes are just traps. Anyway, we continue onward and get a mountain pass, ruins, waterfalls, an abrupt day and night cycle, 19th century European village, and hey, what's this?
Death does not frighten me. The spirits have spoken of the massacre of Small Mountain. Horror in the night. The Bridgestones.
Look who's back. That's right, our narrator returns to give us riddles that state the obvious, or just completely pointless rambling about random nouns and verbs. And not to worry, he does this the entire game. Now this particular one isn't his best performance, but I'll show you some highlights as we go. So shortly after that, we get our first boss fight. It's not that bad since you have a lot of NPCs helping you, but don't worry, they'll all bail on you after this. What's more important than the boss is this is our first introduction to satanic abscesses, the zits of hell. You are never going to stop seeing these things from here on out. Remember how destroying crates in the village was getting a little old? Well, these are the new crates, and they're never going away. Sometimes they have loot. Most of the time they don't. It's just busy work. It's busy work from hell. So we finally make it to the end of the level, and it's time for level 3, the Swamp Passage. And here is level 3. A broken bridge. I have to take the long way around. Now where have I seen that before? Okay, no problem. Same crap I've been doing in level 2. Now I want to emphasize at this point, I've been optimizing my character, getting stat upgrades, better equipment, and so on. So right now I can drop a regular monster in 2 hits, 1 if it's a critical, and a werewolf in 3 hits. Not too bad. So I keep going, and what's this? A new enemy. He looks like a tough version of the smaller monsters, Vreds. He seems to not take much damage. Do I need to... Boom! Dead. Shit! 1 hit kill! I am damaging him, but very slowly. Good thing I've been kiting this whole damn game, but Jesus Christ! Look at this! This guy is fast, too. If I run out of stamina, that's it. I'm dead. Now, thankfully, like a lot of MMOs, the enemies lose interest if you wander too far. Otherwise, this would be impossible. This goes on and on and on. And if I screw up just once, I'm dead. So how many hits does this bastard take? I went back and looked at the video because I was too panicked to count while I played. 103. This freak takes 103 hits. So let's review here. Minion monster, 1 to 2 hits. Werewolf, 3 hits. Tough mob monster, 103 hits. That's a bit of a jump, isn't it? How about 5 hits? That's where I would have gone next. Maybe 7? No, screw that. 103 for an optimized character, and I don't know, 120 for a weaker one? And let's give him insta-kill damage, just to round him out. Good thing I'm playing the archer. This is why you don't play the warrior. How the hell do you melee a monster with insta-kill damage? It's not like some giant boss fight in other games where they take 5 seconds to wind up the punch so you can get out of the way. No, this is the fastest enemy in the game so far. I think playing as the warrior might be impossible. I don't see how you would get past something like this. Now, if this was a popular game, somebody would point out a mechanic I skipped over earlier, where you can have a big golem minion you summon to fight for you. I don't like using these because they need money and skill points to develop, and I saw it as a drain on my main character. But hey, maybe you need them if you play warrior. Now, he's not fully leveled up, but let's see how long my big minion lasts against this guy. Boom! 1 hit kill. You can go to hell. That's how long. Is this a boss? I mean, that would be weird because this is the beginning of the level and there was no cutscene or anything, but that would sort of make sense, I guess. No, he's not a boss. If you go 10 seconds past him, there's another one waiting for you. And if you run 10 seconds past him, there's another one ready to go. He's not even a mini boss. What's going on here? Oh, and the game covers its tracks too. Just in case you were thinking about running past him, they padded things out with some extra enemies to make sure you really slog through it. This guy here takes only 17 hits to kill and takes away about 1/3 of your life per hit. There are several of him sprinkled around this area. And hey, Mr. Big Zombie here takes 35 hits. Now he's slow, but don't let him catch you because he'll take about 80% of your life per hit. Wouldn't want to melee him. Oh, and let's talk about these bats. They suck. You know how in shooters everybody hates the small and fast annoying enemies because they're hard to hit? Well, the developers looked at that and said, you know what would make those better? If instead of making them annoying, we made them really dangerous? Let's have the bats be fast, mobile, and kill the player in 2 hits. Oh, and let's cluster 20 or 30 of these things together so it's really a pain in the ass for the player to draw them out. Good God. This game has turned into a quarter of death with the flip of a switch. I would say I've never seen a difficulty spike like this before, but that's not quite true. Some arcade games in the 90s would have walls like this, Plus, Battletoads is a famous example of a game starting easy, then turning into a death trap by level 3. Except Battletoads was a way of combating game rentals, and arcade games are rigged this way in order to choke more quarters out of you. What's this game's excuse? To pad out the length? No! This is a long game! They don't need to stretch anything! I admit, I was kind of in shock seeing this, but I was also intrigued because it made me wonder if finishing this game was even possible now. So I thought, okay, this is tedious as all hell, but I'll just keep playing until I'm pretty sure it's impossible. After all, if I was the warrior, I'd be done by now. Just try playing this as a melee fighter. I dare you. It took me forever to clear this area, but once I did, guess what I was treated to? Just guess. That's right, a boss! After all, wouldn't want the player to feel like he's not getting a challenge. Now, you might think this game is going to play a joke on me and make the boss take 10 hits to kill after what I went through. No! He's the toughest bastard so far! He just sort of lumbers towards me again and I have to keep kiting him. He's annoying too because he keeps spouting the same stupid lines at me over and over. Now while he is a little slower than the Mega Monster from earlier, he doesn't let up. If you run farther away, he doesn't give up. He always keeps coming. Have you ever seen that movie, It Follows? Well, here it is, in this game. I mean, this game is what I would expect if I was trying to fight an MMO boss designed for 20 people by myself. I actually panicked because I ran out of stamina twice trying to grind this guy down. Fortunately, I was able to warp back to the lab just to have my character literally catch her breath. So how many hits did this guy take to bring down? It was a pain in the ass, but I had to know. So I counted through the video footage. 274. 274 hits. I may have miscounted one or two, but sweet Christ. When's the last time you saw that kind of jump in enemy difficulty? Even now, part of my brain still doesn't believe this game is doing what it's doing. But it was all worth it, because after I defeat the boss, the payoff is hearing some more words of wisdom from our favorite narrator.
Ties of blood last for eternity, but when broken, the bitterness lasts longer. Here lies a brother, damned by greed and secrecy, eaten by worms. Guardian, sleep beneath your treasure, ever vigilant. Shall the living ever visit thy towers?
Man, that's so deep. So after all that tedious fighting, most games would give you a little bit of a break after such an ordeal. Fuck you. You're the chosen one. You immediately have more of the 17 hit guys. Actually, they take more like 13 to 14 hits now since I've leveled up. But hey, I can't complain about them at this point. I take care of them, then look at what happens next. There are more of these 13 hit guys on the hill. There's a glowing guy. That can't be good. But just to add to the challenge, the pawn starts spewing green globs at me. This stuff won't kill you instantly. It can take about 3 seconds. Yep. So now I have to go through this gauntlet to kite the enemies, then run back through it and hope I don't die. Oh, and of course it doesn't hurt the enemies. Look at this. There is no good way to handle this. You're gonna take a lot of damage no matter what you do. It's like the game is saying, hey, you think you're a smartass by attacking our bosses from a distance? Well, how about if we do this? If I try to run through them, odds are I'm gonna die. And die. And die. But if I get a lucky break and make it, then I'm greeted by another cluster of them. And if I manage to run past them, look who is waiting for me in the next cluster as I run out of stamina. Our old friend, the Tough Monster. Sweet Christ. This game is out for blood. Oh, and hey, when I wasn't dying trying to kite the front row, Mr. Sparkly here is resurrecting his buddies as fast as he can when he's not zapping the hell out of me. Now, if I actually get a foothold here, the game stops being a complete death trap and starts to become manageable. The thing is, though, that's almost worse. See, I've established that it's possible to handle most enemies through this rigid system of kiting. But that's all you're doing. Any deviation from the holy path of kiting can result in death. Not always, but close enough. Like this mob monster from earlier. Didn't actually have insta-kill damage. See, he just swiped me for 80%. He has variable damage that sometimes results in an insta-kill. So every time you let him hit you, it's like playing one round of Russian roulette. Maybe you'll live, maybe you'll die. This creates a paranoia of doing anything except sanctioned, tedious, kiting combat. Don't hurry up, don't skip enemies, don't change a thing. It makes the game so robotic and gives a slow assembly line feel to everything. Oh, and look at this bridge. He's resurrecting them faster than I can shoot them down. God, out of all the things to steal from Diablo 2, why this? And it doesn't stop. While I'm kiting the big guy, I notice the shaman guy is not giving up the way the other monsters do. That means if I kill the big guy after pumping him full of 100 arrows or so, the shaman guy will resurrect him as soon as I do, like it's nothing. This game keeps testing and testing you. Oh hey, a cave I need to go into. It only has 20 bats, giant zombies, and excessive flame traps.
Knowledge, the greatest treasure, a priceless gift when shared. Too often hoarded for a price, but here freely given.
Oh joy.
The elixir. Come the full moon, the bat flies whose boiling blood shall stem the tide.
What?
Steep early fenugreek into the bubbling stuff of life.
Yeah, that's helpful. Next I make it to the graveyard. You can just taste how long it's going to take to sweep this area out. And really, everything is turning into this. All your progress is slow, grueling, and dangerous. You're getting such an abridged version by watching this video. You have no idea. Next, we run into a few more werewolves. Oh, and another cave. Oh, God. It's just as awful as the last one. Only the penitent man shall pass. Penitent, penitent. Well, I might make it because this game is making me penitent.
Look to the emerald for your inspiration.
I'm not feeling inspired. Look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this episode to turn into a play-by-play of everything that's horrible about level 3. But I have to go with the stuff I remember, and by God, I remember level 3. Let's talk about the music. The music is just sort of serviceable, nothing great, but it doesn't matter because they reuse the same tracks way too much. You can't play through the game without hearing them loop several hundred times. I just turned it off. Okay, back to level 3. Parts of this are actually pretty, and I would like this if it weren't for everything.
Eternal damnation awaits us all.
Don't tell me that, man. Now, something nice for a change, around here I'm able to level up and get a crude machine gun. It makes a big difference in terms of damage. In fact, when... No. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Around here you have invisible tentacles that appear with no warning at all that hit you really hard. The game has had just about enough of my running bullshit. I need to take things step by step like I'm clearing a minefield now. I want to say this is the absolute worst part, but that's an awfully big claim to make for this game, so I don't know. This game has multiple valid interpretations of what the worst part is. So you could say those tough monsters are the worst, and I'd say, oh yeah, you're right. Or you could say, no, the bats are the worst. And I'd say, oh yeah, they're terrible. No, Ross, the swamp boss that spawns tentacles, shoots rapid fire fireballs, and teleports around the map is the worst. Oh. I guess you just have to be a bad person to play this game. That's why the developers hate you. A good person wouldn't play this. But can you believe with my gun at point blank range, it only takes me 19 hits to kill that same monster from earlier? What will they think of next? And of course, to wrap things up, we have another poison gauntlet. Oh. And that's it. That's the end of level 3 and a piece of my soul.
The fearful wait above. hidden, wretched, and praying for rescue. Woe to the lost should no hero come.
Yeah. So level 4 is more outdoors area and a castle that you run through, and is a mix of insanely easy enemies and ones that are a minor pain in the ass, but will kill you fast if you get sloppy. It also likes its crates. As a whole though, this level is vastly easier than level 3. In fact, the entire game is vastly easier than level 3. It just sort of continues this pattern of annoying slow grind that's playable, but will kill you if you make a mistake. That's the entire rest of the game. I've never seen a difficulty curve like this before in another game. I mean, Battletoads gets hard and it stays hard. This is just bizarre. I will say though, it's a little cathartic to have enemies that you just blow away repeatedly with a gun. Bam, bam, bam. I can get used to this. But then they'll constantly throw ranged bastards at you that you have to dodge non-stop and burn through health potions to take out. They're not fun to fight. That's all there is to it. They are not fun. You do get NPCs to help you out in this level, but they don't last all that long. I do appreciate the game's self-awareness here.
Your bravery may cost you your life. Most that join me fall quickly.
Anyone who isn't you is going to die. That's just the way of things. Anyway, I'm skipping through hours of tedious gameplay, but after this, you make it to a long, grindy dungeon, then finally to the Well of Souls. Wah! Okay, remember how that earlier boss was no joke? Well, now the boss is a joke. He's far easier than most of the mob encounters I've had up to this point. I beat him in about 10 seconds. And that's it. I seal the first Well of Souls to stop the evil from pouring out or whatever the damn plot is. Then I'm sent to the desert. It's all the same crap. It's enemies that are either way too easy or else annoyingly dangerous, insta-kill traps, and just grind. Now I played this game before I even started Game Dungeon, and here is where I originally quit. The game had shown me what it was all about, and it was just more of the same now, except in the desert. I admit, guys, I'm biased against deserts. I typically don't like them. I'm not saying they can't be good, but a game has to work extra hard and make it seem really mystical, or have ancient horrors, or else have a really good story and context to it for me to like it. Well, The Chosen doesn't have any of that. It has steadily unpleasant gameplay and mind-numbing grind. But hey, this is the Game Dungeon. I should try to go through and finish it for you guys, right? Now, for some reason, back when I thought about covering this, I thought nobody had recorded the ending. Hell, maybe nobody even made it to the ending. Why would they want to? Well, either YouTube had poor searching algorithms at the time, or else I'm just going crazy, but somebody did record the ending. So there was no reason for me to play through this. But I didn't get the memo on that for some reason, so I went through this entire game. After the desert, you go to a jungle area, and then finally an Arctic area with lots of visually unappealing dungeons and buildings along the way, and it's all the same crap. They swap out the monsters, but nothing else about the game fundamentally changes. Some of the areas are neat to look at. Yeah, nice shadow. But it's about a 50-50 split between nice areas and just mildly ugly ones. And with you every step of the way is our faithful narrator with his nonsense dialogue and awkwardly enigmatic delivery.
They doubt your resolve. The fire of death is here. The book is well hidden, but if you hope to leave this place, find it you shall.
Yeah, thanks, Yoda. Even though I think this story is garbage and says almost nothing, it goes on and on. I checked the files. There are over 30 minutes of spoken dialogue in this game, and God knows how many walls of text on top of that. Why? The more your game is focused on combat, the less necessary it is to have a good story. I mean, a good story can be a welcome addition to many action games, but this is not a good story. This is a story about stopping the evil one. The end. They don't need to put all this effort into the story, but they do. It's like some bad fanfic writer at the helm with a license to go carte blanche on this game.
You must be Boguslav. Your reputation precedes you.
I mean, let's not beat around the bush. This is a bad game. It makes multiple bad gameplay decisions, some of which I've never seen before. You can find better voice acting from random people off the street.
It is time to cleanse your village.
The writing is trash. It's grindy in a bad way and just doesn't give you much of a compelling reason to keep playing. But what may not be obvious to you is a lot of effort went into this. I can tell. If this was a simple shovelware title, it would be shorter. There would be more corners cut. They wouldn't have as much variation as they do. No. Instead, this is the result of someone or some people with a grand plan. Whatever that was. A lot of people have heard of director Ed Wood, also known as the worst director in Hollywood because he produced so many bad movies. But what you may not know is he was actually really passionate about making movies. He loved doing it and put his heart into it. He just happened to be absolutely terrible at it. Well, I feel like The Chosen carries on the spirit of Ed Wood.
The stone spirits are restless. When they speak, they tremble, and stones may fall on your head.
It took me months to beat this game. I could have finished it a lot faster, but the game made me not want to. This is the perfect game to play when you know you should be doing something else. Like, hey, have a school paper to work on, or have some chores to do, but you're stressed out and just want a quick break? Well, play The Chosen. You'll find yourself thinking, yeah, I should get back to work. After the beginning, I only played this for about 20 minutes at a time. That's the only way I was able to get through this. And now that I've beaten it, I'd rather go dig ditches than have to play this game again. So let's see the ending. We catch up with the evil one, and apparently this is the real chosen one. I'm just some disposable soldier. And hey, going with that overachiever vibe again, this game has 2 endings. So let's take a look at the bad one first. I hope you're ready for the tour de force cutscene you're gonna get.
No! His soul has passed into your body. Now only death can release you from him.
You are a poor teacher indeed if your apprentices do not heed you.
Marcus, I will not let you survive. You will die.
Oh shit.
I have never inhabited the body of a woman. Very interesting.
Yeah, classic writing.
A gentleman such as you wouldn't strike a woman, would he?
I think he would.
You will die.
Oh!
Accept your defeat, Calidus. Your soul shall join the others.
The power of evil has corrupted me! No! This is intense, guys. The end game. And of course he attacks me on the fade out. Alright, now let's set things right and see the good ending. If you just wait, he'll transform into a demon, you grind him down, which is still much easier than anything in level 3, and here is the epic conclusion.
It was devilishly powerful.
It was pure evil.
Thankfully, it was alone.
Yes, luckily for us all.
Yes. So lucky it was. For us, that is. We are the lucky ones.
Look at all the souls that are now free. It is all thanks to you. You are a true hero.
It is a pity that we could not rescue the Chosen One.
I remember when he learned that he was the Chosen One. He left to seclude himself away from civilization. He had to leave and sacrifice his life for us. Only a Chosen One is capable of such sacrifice.
This writing is amazing.
Then, evil has been defeated. Shall it ever rise again?
Perhaps. People often create it themselves.
That's so deep.
That is why we, the hunters, must always be vigilant.
The Emerald Tablet was destroyed in the Hellfire Cauldron. It is a terrible loss for us.
The tablet would have come in useful, especially after your battle with the Vehemence, Calidus.
I don't know what that is.
I remember too late that they fly in pairs.
Yes, Your brother Mirandos mentioned something like that. He also said something about it not being the first time.
Haha, my brother talks too much.
So that was a joke. It will take centuries for evil to recover from this setback. The end game. And that's The Chosen. Before I end this, in making this video, I discovered that this game has become freeware. If you want to, for some reason, you can download it under the European name, Frater. It's the same game, although I noticed it's a tad easier. Monsters go down a little faster and you use less mana and so on. But my guess is it's still bad. Also, I guess this is my competition, but they advertise visibly that they're accepting donations. I'd advise against giving them anything based on their track record, but if you do it out of pity. Like, oh, you guys spent hundreds of hours working on this. I'm sorry. Okay, awards time. First award, legendary voice acting. You might think Japanese games from the 90s have a monopoly on bad voice acting, but The Chosen proves that's just not the case. I've seen top 10 lists before of bad voice acting in games, and if anything, this video shows The Chosen deserves a spot on that list. Second award, somebody cared. I can't say who, but there are enough signs that somebody on the development team really cared about The Chosen, and this was their baby. Someone here had a vision, and we're paying the price for it. And the final award, on Flaming Wings.
On Flaming Wings.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
You have done your part. Now I must complete my destiny.
Go, my young friend. Your name shall live on should you fall.
I shall not fall. I shall triumph.
Hmm.